Good morning, everybody. This morning we are here with Damon Audia from AGCO. He's the Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer for AGCO. And what we're really here to talk about is AGCO's emphasis and strategy on kind of the aftermarket, or not necessarily always talking about new equipment, but talking about retrofitting equipment. So Damon, do you want to talk to us about that strategy a little bit and tell us why you think it's important to farmers?
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for the time, Denise, and it's great to talk to you. I think, as we think about 2024 and, what we hear from the USDA is farmers' income is coming down off of the last couple of years. And so we know that as their farmer income's coming down, farmers are still going to be looking to upgrade their equipment, get more productivity, look to reduce their cost. And one of the things that makes AGCO unique relative to the other major OEMs out there is our discrete retrofit channel to market under the Precision Planting brand. And this is a separate channel versus our new equipment. But what it does, because it's a retrofit approach, it allows farmers to buy these smaller modules at a smaller investment and still get some of the productivity, either in increasing his or her yield or reducing their input cost. And for us, it's a very important part of how we run our business, because we talk about being the most farmer-focused company in the industry, and we want those farmers to be able to do that, see the value at a lower investment. And our commitment to them is in buying these types of technologies, they're usually able to get a payback on this technology in 1 to 2 years. And so as these farmers are looking at, should I buy a brand new Momentum planter, which is a very large investment for him or her, or should I buy some of these modules that are part of the precision planting applications? It's a lower upfront investment for him or her, lets them see the value of that. And then hopefully over time, as they see the productivity or the lower input cost, they get more comfortable and hopefully upgrade to a brand new Momentum planter at times. So, we see it being a very important part of our business. It's been growing double digits. This retrofit business has been growing double digits for us. And it's a cornerstone as to who we are as we continue to innovate our technology stack, making sure that we bring that technology to the aftermarket or the retrofit first. I think the other thing that's very unique for us and important for the farmers to know, when we talk about retrofit, we talk about all makes and all models. And so even though AGCO has an array of brands that we will support, but our Precision Planting group supports the other major OEMs brands as well. And so you can put this Precision Planting equipment pretty much on any planter in the industry.
Okay. And then you also have, recently the announcement with the acquisition Trimble. So that'll be completed, I believe, later this, maybe in the first quarter, maybe in the second quarter, I'm not sure. But can you tell us more about the Trimble acquisition and how you see that fitting into part of this as well?
Yeah, Trimble is a critical part of our technology stack, and it really allows AGCO to become the industry leader in mixed fleet precision ag. Similar to precision planting, the Trimble brand is known as a guidance system that works on any brand, any vintage. And so you're bringing these two mixed fleet OEM agnostic mindset companies together and really combining the power of the two. And for us, the Trimble brand, the Trimble technology starts to become the cornerstone as to how we will build our technology stack for the future. As we think about things like autonomy, and AGCO has talked about having an autonomous offering around the crop cycle by 2030, having that connectivity real time to where the machines are is going to become very important. And Trimble's positioning signals become important to us as we build that autonomy going forward. So we see lots of things to build off of. As we know, farmers are looking for more and more connectivity of their machines and their implements. Having that Trimble offering for us to offer to the farmers, we see a lot of synergies for us to help make it easier and better for the farmers to get the information they need. And really, because Trimble's a mixed fleet provider, and we know a lot of our farmers are becoming more mixed fleet orientated, it really dovetails well with the way AGCO is positioning itself to the farmer and with our retrofit channel as well.
Okay. And can you talk about, when you talk about the crop cycle, you certainly got various aspects of it. Do you think that you're complete in your acquisitions, or do you think there's a few more things that you want to add so that you've really got the entire crop cycle covered?
Well, I think if we look around the crop cycle today, we feel really good about all the different attributes of what we've been able to acquire or what we've been able to design internally. That being said, there's still a lot of work in automating different functions. And what we know, you know as well, that the farmer does a lot in the cab. Just putting that tractor and letting it run down the way line is one thing. But when you watch him or her pressing all the buttons, there's a lot of things they're doing. And so for us, we're spending a lot of time automating the features or automating the actions that the farmer would be doing when he or she's in that cab. And so as we're looking at those, and it could be something safety orientated, it could be something on measuring, as they're looking at the planter, how do we make sure that, are we doing that? Or if there's another company out there that's a year or two ahead of us, can we partner with him or her or that group? Or do we buy that company to accelerate our road to autonomy? So I would tell you Trimble was a big one. As you know, it was a $2 billion acquisition. So it was the biggest ag tech deal in the history. It was our biggest acquisition. But I think we're always looking for some of these smaller bolt-on acquisitions, like you saw with JCA, where we were able to accelerate our autonomy development by finding someone out there who's a little bit more specialized, and we try to bring them into the house to advance the speed up our process.
Okay, so, and again, we were talking about, some of this, your goals are by 2030 to offer certain things. How do you see the demographics of farmers changing? Farmers are aging. Some older farmers may be resistant to technology, or at least they were at the beginning, perhaps less so as it becomes easier to use. But there's certainly a younger generation coming in as well. So how do you meet kind of both markets, if you will?
Yeah, well, I think that's the key is to give the farmers the optionality, right? There are some farmers, when I talk to them, they love to be in the combine during the harvest, right? It doesn't matter if it could run itself, if it could do everything. They're going to sit up there and they're going to go through that process. And as we go through this process of automating steps for them, as moving into things like autonomy, it's giving the optionality, right? Not making it a must, but more an or. And so for those farmers who are comfortable, they've been doing it for 30, 40 years, if they want to still run the combine or they want to run the sprayer, they have that. But as we know, to your point, as the next generation starting to learn more and take over the farm, they're more comfortable with data. They're more comfortable with the analysis. So as we're building our platforms, we've got to make sure that they're getting that information. The user interfaces are easy. Because again, when you look at AGCO, a lot of our farmers may have a mixed fleet. And so we got to make sure the user interfaces, the data can come across those different platforms and be easy for that next generation to use the data to make informed decisions, whether they're getting ready for planting. Again, if you look at our radical agronomics, our soil sampling program that's under precision planting, huge amounts of data as you go through your fields and giving you clarity on how you're going to plant. You look at the Momentum Planter, all of that data coming off real time, almost 800,000 measurements per minute that planter is adjusting. That's feeding these farmers lots of information. And that younger generation will tell you, I got a lot. I don't know what to do with it, to really make the right decisions. So our job is to how do you process all that and make the recommendations easier for the farmer. And that's where we're spending a lot of our time, trying to make sure that we're getting them data, but then helping them understand what to do with that data.
Okay, and then this might seem this is a bit more of a business question because I can't resist. I come from a background in the automotive aftermarket. Automotive aftermarket was always counter-cyclical to the economy, really. Is this a way for AGCO as a company to protect itself against the cyclical, the economic cycles that happen of boom and bust?
Yeah, well, it's definitely a way to dampen our cyclicality. When you look at our parts business, it's about 1.8 billion out of the 14.4 billion in total revenue that AGCO had in 2023. So it's an important part of our business. We've spent a lot of time focusing on fill rates to our dealers and ensuring fill rates from dealers to our farmers. And we've done a lot. We just announced recently Farmer Core. Yep. And if you heard about Farmer Core, it's trying to be more on farm to the farmers. It's trying to leverage the connected machinery, leveraging technology to the farmers, giving them the ability to do things online at their convenience, and then helping educate our dealers about the value that we see of doing things more on farm. So rather than having these big, large dealerships where you got to bring your combines, bring your tractors in there, we're going more onto the farm. So having more parts depots, smaller locations, and then service trucks who can go out to the farm when it's convenient for you as a farmer, get the work done. And we've showed to our dealers the value of that because we own our own company store called Ag Revolution, and they have demonstrated how they're able to increase the circumference of what they can cover with the store. And they're doing about 85% of the work on farm. And again, Denise, you and I, we used to go to the mall when we were younger to go shopping, right? We used to go, now we go on Amazon, we make our orders, and it shows up at our doorstep. And so why would the ag industry not evolve like that as well? And what we're seeing with our stores, these mobile fleets, we're able to really bring that to the farmer. The more that we're connecting the machines, the more that we're giving them options online to our dealers, and then the dealers getting out to them. Hopefully it's building a connectivity to that farmer that we're there to help them be faster, save money, get up sooner to get back into the field.
Okay. And then actually on that issue of connectivity, what concerns does AGCO have about the fact that oftentimes rural America is not as connected, as the rest of, the metropolitan areas? Connectivity can be a big challenge for people who live in rural areas and live on farms. What concerns do you have there? What actions do you think can be taken? What do you see from the future from that perspective? Since I believe it's critical really to so much of this precision ag and ag tech and all the things you just talked about.
Yeah, so the team's doing a lot of work looking at what the different options are, and we know that this is not something which is unique to AGCO. It's not unique to the ag industry, but we're doing we're studying what are all the different options out there to help. Today, we do a lot of edge processing, so we do a lot inside on the computer, in the computers, on the machines themselves, doing a lot of real-time adjustment, not necessarily always having to rely upon real-time connectivity to send data back and forth to the cloud, but trying to do as much edge processing there. That way, if you're in the fields with no connectivity, you're not losing a lot of the value of what it's doing. And then when you get back to the shed, it uploads the data, and then you can do your analysis. But we know that's going to change. We're going to need more, as we talked about autonomy. You're going to need to know where you are. So we're doing a lot of work as to how do we leverage different options to make sure that as these products come online, the farmers have the access to what they need from a connectivity standpoint as well. And again, lots of work being done behind the scenes here, but we know it's a challenge for farmers in many parts of the world, not just here in the U.S., but other parts of the world as well.
Okay. And then finally, I guess just final thoughts from you, Damon. Where do you think, what do you think the future of farming looks like?
I think we're going through a massive transformation, Denise. Again, as we think about the pressure on the farmers, as the population is growing, the middle class is growing, which is consuming more grain. We think about all the conversations of what's happening with like renewable diesel, sustainable aviation fuel. Our farmers are going to be asked to produce more in order just to service what the world is asking for. But at the same time, we're, the governments, people like us that are very sustainably orientated are saying, well, don't use as much chemicals, don't use as much pesticides. So we're asking you to produce more, but we want you to use less to get the yields. That puts them in a really challenging situation. That's where a lot of the precision, the things that we've talked about this morning, all the different technologies about targeted spraying, using things like our momentum planter that is doing real-time adjustments will hopefully optimize or improve their yields and minimize their input costs. We know that's the future, and that's when we think about how do we help the farmers get better, become more profitable. It's all about this precision technology. And again, whether it's what we do with radical agronomics, what we're doing with our momentum planter, the technologies that we've now brought with Trimble, whether that's carbon sequestration, whether that's a water management system, all of these things around the cycle, trying to figure out how do we make that farmer, use less input, get better yields, keep his or her costs as low as possible, because our goal is to, our goal here is to drive their net farm income up by 20%. And so we're always looking around that crop cycle is what can we do to help him or her, become more profitable, either in more yield, or lower input costs. So there's a lot of work to do. Yeah, or both. Exactly. That's the ideal one. So we're doing a lot of different things like that. Our goal is to continue to educate our farmers through those things. Like our Precision Planting Winter Conference, it's a teaching. It's about all the work that we've done, all the analysis we've done. Here's what we've learned. So maybe this works for you and for your field, because we know it's different around the country, but all of these things with really the core focus of being the most farmer focused company in the industry. And I think we've demonstrated that, and we'll continue to demonstrate that.
Excellent. I think it's a great place for us to leave it. Thank you very much for your time today, Damon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.